All right, you guys. Well, thank you so much for coming out tonight, 7 p.m. on the nose. So let's get fired up here. I've been super excited to share this event with you guys this month. And we've really been building up to it. And I've been thinking a lot about it. And we've done some of these in the past. And I guess before we really get into it, my name is Mclean. I am a personal and professional development coach. And it's this information is very near and dear to me. It literally changed my life. So I guess my background, like who am I and why should you listen to me really? I've asked myself that question numerous times. Why would anybody listen to me? But then I realized that, you know what, for somebody who didn't really have the guidance in life, I've made it pretty far. I've done some pretty cool things, and I am pretty proud of myself. And that came with actually using this information we're going to talk about. So, born and raised in Nova Scotia, moved to the Wild West when I was 18 years old. Didn't have any family out here. Didn't really know what I was doing. Jumped right into the workforce and started working at a car dealership. And I spent probably about a year and a half really working really hard inside of that dealership before I stumbled across my first mentor, Bob Proctor. And I picked up a program called The Science of Getting Rich. And I started doing this program. And the program said, if you do everything that we tell you to do, you will become rich. And I was like, yes, like I totally want that, right? A young kid in my early 20s. But what I didn't realize is when they were talking about riches, they were talking about everything. They were talking about real wealth, like in your health, your relationships, and your financial well-being. So really cool going through this information and taking it, and going from earning like a minimum wage job to multiple six figures in a very short period of time. I became a believer. And that's from a kid who grew up with no financial education, grew up in a poor household. So my parents couldn't teach me about money. They couldn't really teach me anything else other than go to work and work really hard. And that's life, right? And struggle. That's what they taught me. And, I made a promise to myself that I wasn't going to struggle. So, and that's what led me into all of this information. So since then, I spent some time in there, and my mentor convinced me to create multiple sources of income. So we started our first business, which is Direct Dumpsters in 2012. This is about 4 years later after, getting this information in and doing some really cool things. Now I'm still working full time. So I'm literally working 70, 80 hours a week. And now I have a full-time brick and mortar garbage business. And then I decided to become a coach. And why did I do that? Well, I'll tell you, part of it is I knew the information so well that I wanted to share it with other people because I knew what it did for me, right? I knew it took this down and out, depressed, and like this angry, kid in his early 20s and really molded him into somebody that I could say that I really liked. Right. And, life changed. So I think the biggest part is I had to use the information so much in my life that it became part of me. And what do I mean by that? Like I had to fix so many things in my life that I was constantly using this information to help me and to move me forward. So I was really I was attached to it because it did so much for me, and I knew what it could do for other people. And I started to notice, traits in other people that I seen in myself previous to this. And I just realized like, hey, you don't need to be in that state. You don't need to be in that thinking, and you can really create the life that you want. And it just really started catching on to me like, hey, this is really what I want to do. So now, fast forward, I've taken back my time. I get to do things that I love to do, and I get to help other people figure out what they love to do and help them move towards it. So, if anything tonight, I don't think I'm here to inspire you. I'm not a motivational speaker. I'll be the first one to raise my hand, but I do hope I inspire you to take action in your own life and really take control of it by using these 12 simple tools that I'm going to talk about tonight. And these are really the 12 tools that I've used in my life over and over and over again now for a number of years. And the same tools that I watch many, many people around the world use to create the lives that they want. So, if I were to ask you to do one thing this evening, first of all, thank you for taking some time to come out and go, like, who is this guy and why is he talking? I really just want you to have an open mind, because it doesn't matter where you're at. You could be running a multi-million-dollar company and have all the financial income in the world, but maybe your relationships aren't the way that you want them. So you can improve that, right? Maybe you're working a job that you like, but you're just working yourself to death because you need the money, right? Maybe it's about money for you today. Maybe it's a health goal. Maybe it's that, right? And what's so very cool is it doesn't have to be about money. So, if you guys hear me talking about riches and money here tonight, I want you to understand that I'm really talking about wealth. And when I talk about wealth, I look at three main pillars. And I don't know, I just made these ones up because they seem to be the most important to me. And I would assume that we're a lot alike, right? Because I just see so many similarities in people that I had. And, so I look at health, wealth, and relationships, because without my health, what the heck does it matter if I've got all the money in the world? I'm paying to get my health back, right? Without relationships, I don't really feel alive. I love people. Relationships are so important, right? And I would say the most important relationship, and we'll talk a little bit about it tonight, is the relationship you have with yourself, right? Do you love yourself? Do you love yourself unconditionally? Do you love yourself enough to forgive yourself for the things that you've done in the past so you can really move into the future with a clean slate? So, I woke up this morning and I realized how grateful I really am to be able to do the things that I'm doing. And I really started thinking of myself, and I wrote this down and I wanted to share it with you guys tonight, look for the magic in today. Like, you could be having one of the worst days that you've had in a long time, but there's magic in it, right? And it's all about, our attitude and our perception and what we're focusing on, right? Because what we give energy to grows. So look for the magic in today, but then look for it in every situation. Like, start looking for those magical moments in every situation, right? Look for it in every interaction, and know and expect that if you look for it, you will always find it, right? So how cool would that be to wake up every morning just to be so excited to get up, have your feet hit the ground, and go, man, I just can't wait to find these magical moments today. Like, today I'm doing the things that I want to do. I'm living the life that I want to live. I'm spending my time doing the things that I want to do. And that could be a job for you. That could be a business. That could be not working. It could be whatever it is that is important to you. So really have an open mind tonight as we go through this. And I just really want you to know that it is possible, right? It is very, very possible for you to achieve and do all of the things that you desire, that you maybe see other people doing, and you're like, man, I would really like to do that. Like, that would be so cool. But I don't know how to do that. Or, that person's worked so hard, they got this business and it's 10 years away. But that's not the truth, right? You can have it, and you can have it quicker than you think you can. And it's a matter of believing in yourself. So let's get into kind of the meat and potatoes here tonight. And, if you guys have any questions, go ahead and, put them in the chat box. You can put them in the chat box here. I'll stop and we'll jump into them. if there's anything, if I'm going too fast, if there's something you want clarification, just let me know. Make this interactive. So I really want you to think about like what brought you here tonight, right? The name of this event, Unleash Your Potential. And there's little details on it. Somebody may have invited you here. But when I look at these things, it's like, what do you want to do? Do you want to earn more money? Do you want to better your health? Do you want to improve your relationships? Maybe it's a new business you want to start. Or maybe you just want to figure out what's actually holding you back, right? You guys ever like have that, like, you ever work at something so hard and you're good at it. And it's like, how come? Like, what is holding me back? Why can I not, get to that next level? Why does this seem so hard? Maybe that's the question. Maybe that's why you're here tonight. And I would say with a little bit of motivation and some education, you can have whatever it is you want. Okay. So I just take a minute here before we jump into, the first part of what I'm here to talk about, and just think about what it is that you really want, how you would like to spend your days, who would you like to spend them with? Maybe it's a vacation you want to take. Maybe it's like a dream vacation you want to take. Maybe you've taken it before, but you never got to experience it the way that you want it to. You guys ever take a vacation like that? It's like, you got enough to go, but you're not necessarily, have enough to do all the activities or, live it the way that you want it to live. So just think about that thing and just listen, have an open mind as I go through some of this information here. And I'll tell you, one of my favorite books to read is Psycho-Cybernetics by Dr. Maxwell Maltz. Awesome psychologist. Back in 1959, he wrote this book or so. It was like, in around there. The book's a little bit older, but the information today is just as relevant, if not more relevant today than it was then, because it's more understood, right? But he says, within you, whoever you may be, regardless of how big a failure you may think yourself to be, is the ability and the power to do whatever you need to do to be happy and successful. Okay, within you right now is the power to do things you never dreamed possible. And this power becomes available to you just as soon as you can change your beliefs. Okay, just as quickly as you can dehypnotize yourself from the ideas of, I can't, I'm not worthy, I don't deserve it, and other self-limiting ideas. Okay, and so I love this so much because really it's just, you can do whatever you want, but what we need to do is we need to dehypnotize ourselves from the things that we've been saying to ourselves all these years, right? Or the things that other people have been telling us that we've internalized, that we've let sink into our subconscious mind or into a limiting belief system to automatically give us a negative thought when we think about doing something better, right? And it's like, hey, I want to do this, but I can't do that. I don't have the time, right? Well, the reality is you can do whatever you want, and maybe it's a drastic change. Maybe maybe you have businesses and you don't want to be a business owner anymore, right? Maybe you're just working too much. You never wanted to buy yourself a job, but like, how do you sell the business? How do you do this? How do you get your life back? It just seems like such a big thing, and we just go, I can't do that, right? We want these lives with our families, and all of a sudden we end up working 60, 70, 80 hours a week to provide that lifestyle, but we never, pictured ourselves having to sacrifice that time to do that. And maybe we get ourselves into this financial bind and we're like, well, how do I change that now, right? And we feel stuck. And it's these self-limiting beliefs that are going to hold us back. Reality is we can change it. We can do whatever we want. Are you willing to do the work, right? Are you willing to get a little bit uncomfortable to make it happen? Because it's not going to happen by doing the same thing you're doing right now. And you see what we've done up until this point is we create like these comfort zones of how we operate and things that we do to live the life that we have right now. So sometimes making those changes can be very scary and very big. So how do we make those changes? How can we make those changes in our life? Well, the very first thing, and it's so important, is you got to have a goal. Okay, you've got to have a goal. And without a goal, man, you are sunk. You're like a ship at sea without a rudder. You're being pushed around by outside forces. You're going with the flow. You're doing what other people are telling you to do. You're not in control when you're not focused on what it is that you really want. Okay, so we talk about three different types of goals. We talk about A-type goals. That's more of the same. Okay, guys. So this is number one. This is the first thing that we need to do. So if like you're here to take notes tonight or think about, some action steps to move forward, here it is. Number one, set a goal. And you've heard it over and over and over again. You're probably like, Mclean, shut up. I know I got to set a goal, but most people don't know how to set a goal that's actually going to move them, right? They set an A-type goal and it's more of the same. They're like, oh, I'm going to buy a new car, right? And they go buy a new car and it's like, well, dude, you already know how to do that. Like, it's not a good goal. It's good to have a new car, but it's not necessarily a goal. Like you just go to the dealership, you sign some paperwork, or you pay them, you drive away, right? Then we go to these goals, these B-type goals, and it's what you think you can do. All right. Now, this is where I've spent the majority of my time previous to this information, setting my goals on what I think I can do. And I'm like, hey, if I do this, right, and I work a little bit harder and I make a little bit more, and this investment does this, and this happens, I'm going to do that. Right. And I set the goal and I feel pretty good about it. And I'm like, I go out and I start working on it. And then something happens, maybe it throws me off, maybe it's a life event and we give up on them, right? And then we look back and we're like, oh, well, I guess I didn't really want it, right? I didn't really want it that bad. Yeah, it would have been cool, but I didn't really want it. And we give up on these goals. And that's where I would say 80% of people spend their time. And a lot of times they don't achieve the goal, so they get discouraged to set another goal. And they don't really know what happened, right? So that's like, what is holding me back? What is really holding me back is me and my belief system and not setting a big enough goal, okay? So we really want to talk about C-type goals. And these are the things that you really want. This should get your blood flowing, right? This should be the thing that when you are driving down the road in your vehicle and the music is pounding and you get that dumb smile on your face that you don't even realize that you have on your face, and you go, wow, that would be so amazing and it feels so good, but then you go, I could never do that, right? I'm not smart enough. I don't have the time. I don't have the resources. I don't even know where to begin to start a business. I don't like, those are the type of goals that I really want to see you set, well, think about and set and achieve, because these goals are what's going to get you moving when life takes hold, right? And life isn't always easy, right? What Jim Carrey says, life doesn't happen to you, it happens for you. And he says, how do I know that? He says, I don't. I get paid to talk here today. That's what he was doing. He was talking, but it's so true, right? Life doesn't happen to you, it happens for you. And when we start taking a look at that perception and going, hey, if life happens for me, that means I can do whatever I want. So this really big thing, this thing that maybe we've tried to achieve before and we haven't been able to do it, maybe we've given up on it. Let's give it some hope. Let's give it some light, because now I'm going to teach you how to start moving towards it right away. Okay, so really, if you really want to make a change this year for coming into 2022, set a goal. Figure out what it is that you want, and then figure out why you want it, okay? And then remember this as you're going towards it, success is the progressive realization of a worthy ideal, okay? And that was said by my mentor, Earl Nightingale, and it's so true, right? Because a goal The goal is not just to get something. It's not just to get money. It's not to get an item. That's nice. It's a byproduct of a goal, but a goal is designed to make you grow. It's like, okay, if I'm going towards this goal, who am I next year? Who did I become to be able to achieve that goal? Right? And who is it that I want to become? You know, that person inside of you that you know is there, but you don't let out sometimes because you're scared of criticism and people laughing at you. And that's the person that we want to let come up to the surface, because that perfect person is perfect, right? So what do we do now? We've got a goal. What do we do? How do we start moving forward? Well, it's in the knowing and doing, right? It's understanding the knowing doing gap. Now, the crazy thing is as we grow older, we learn more, but we have a tendency to do less things, right? Like think about it. As we get older, if we're in a workforce, we had special training for certain things here and there. We read books, we learn things on Discovery Channel, YouTube, whatever it is that you go to for education or entertainment. We're learning things and we go, yeah, I know. And then we do less. And then when that day comes up, that moment of truth, and we go, man, I should have done that. I knew I should have done that. Why didn't I do it? And the answer is you weren't programmed to do it, right? You weren't programmed to do it. You're programmed to do exactly what you're doing, and you didn't have a goal. I guess that's the best way to put it. There's no goal, right? When you don't have a goal, you're not doing much. Number one, a goal. Number two, understand that we need to close the knowing doing gap, right? And understand and be excited about this. Like right now, be excited that in the next 30 days, you can literally change your life a 180-degree turn by understanding that you can improve your performance and enjoy greater results with what you already know how to do. How cool. Like, how cool is that? You don't even need me right now. You just need to go do what you already know what you need to do. And you know what it is already. I don't even need to tell you. You're shaking your head right now. You're like, damn, Matt, you're right. And I know I am, right? So at times we do things we don't want to do, right? We get results we don't want, but we do it anyways. And this is because of this thing called a paradigm that's locked up in the subconscious mind that controls our actions or behaviors. We are programmed, okay? Right? So 96 to 98% of our results, perceptions, and behaviors, they happen unconsciously. Wow, they happen unconsciously. We don't even have to think about them. That's how cool the mind is. So if we programmed it to do the things that we knew would move us towards our goal, we'd be pretty productive unconsciously, hey? We just got to know how to do that, right? And that's what I help people do. I help you with these things called paradigms, right? And a paradigm is a multitude of habits. And a habit is an idea that's fixed in a person's subconscious mind that causes them to do something without any conscious thought. And a paradigm is what causes our habitual behavior. And 96 to 98% of our results, perceptions, and behaviors are unconscious. So like raise a hands right now or put a 1 in the chat box, please, just so I know you're still listening, that it would be smart to understand what a paradigm is if it controls most of our results. Yeah, okay, yeah. All right. Thank you, Amanda. Yes, I see the 1, right? The ones they're there, right? We see over Facebook land here now too, they're coming in. So it just makes sense. So the thing that causes our results, we should probably understand it and know about it, right? So let's talk about it a little bit. I call this your infinite mind, and this is using your mind and learning to control your subconscious mind to get the results that you want in life, okay? So as we go through and we really start to understand that paradigms are what's controlling our behavior and they're what's causing our results, this light bulb comes on in my head because it's like, boom, okay, you know what? Most of the training programs that I've seen out there, they teach me how to change my behavior, right? they teach me how to do different things, and I do them until the training wears off. And then I have a habitual way of going back to doing things the way that I was used to doing them. Why is that? Right. And it's these paradigms, and how do we change them? How do we change them to get the results that we want? And the coolest thing about what we do in thinking the results is we go to the primary cause of the result. So you're no longer just changing behavior, you're changing the reason you're acting the way you're acting, right, on a daily basis. And to have something different, we must do different things, right? So it's important to understand this, right? So as you gain a deep understanding of paradigms, it becomes obvious that logic on a conscious level and paradigms on a subconscious level shape a person's perception, and it literally places them in a box beyond which they cannot see without the effective use of their imagination. So what does that mean? Okay, so our paradigms are like a habitual way of thinking as well, right? So we have like family cultures, and we have, family paradigms and the way that we think, and we have world cultures, and we have, cultures inside of businesses, right? And it creates perceptions, right? And the paradigms create perceptions, and it creates the way that we see the world. So as our paradigms change, so does also our perception and the way that we see things, right? So we're open to more ideas on how to create the lives that we want. Now, unfortunately, the paradigm has such an enormous influence over the use of a person's conscious faculties. If and when they actually use their imagination to step out of the self-limiting box, they will generally unconsciously use it in a negative manner against themselves, right? And an individual will create an image in their mind where they see the conditions and circumstances as the dominant role, and they become subservient to them, right? And this puts us in a position of moving forward until we really understand these things. Think about it. Think about that awkward conversation that maybe you're about to have with somebody. Maybe it's a day or two away, what's happening, and like you're running it through your mind, and it's going, and you're like playing out how this is going to go, right? And all of a sudden that like mind movie you have going on takes over your emotions, right? And what happens when that happens? It totally controls our thinking, takes over our emotions, and it lets outside circumstances affect the way that we're feeling inside, right? And we forget that we create from inside out. So if we're feeling that way, we're actually attracting that conversation the way that we're visioning it. And we create that, right? We create that in our mind versus creating what we want to happen, right? So if we're like letting outside affect inside, we're letting outside affect what's happening versus building from the inside out, right? So let's talk about that a little bit. And this is where we go into what we call the secret genie. And this is how to tap into your true potential. And this is so cool. I'm just going to take a drink of water. If you guys have any questions, just put them in the chat box. Doesn't look like I put anybody to sleep yet, so that's awesome. So happy about that. Okay, so when we think about the secret genie, and it's how to tap into your true potential, because really the mind is the secret genie. It will give you whatever you want. You got to really want it, and you got to be willing to put the work in, but it will give you whatever you want, right? And you have the ability to originate, create an image of what you would like in the future, right? And by impressing that picture on the subconscious mind and letting yourself get emotionally involved with the image will ultimately move into form with and through you, okay? This is, to me, this is like perpetual transmutation. This is the law of perpetual transmutation, right? And this is where the thought stuff really starts to manifest the material things that we want, right? And this is like holding that image on the screen of your mind, you're actually manifesting what you want, right? If you hold it there and you get emotionally involved into it. And so when we take a look at that, the conscious mind is where we gather information. Okay, so, but it's not the part that controls the actions of the body. The conscious mind thinks and the subconscious mind executes what's impressed upon it and expresses itself through the body. This is so cool because we are in control of the conscious mind. So we are in control of the way that we think and what we allow to be dominant in our mind and what we're thinking about. And that's what we're going to get emotionally involved into. And to impress it upon subconscious mind, we need to become emotionally involved in it, right? Now, I love this. Every person has genius locked up within them. Okay, your spiritual DNA, the essence of who you are, is perfect. The perfection has been buried in old virus codes or paradigms. Okay, and I'm here to help you bring these deep reservoirs of potential to the surface. The best investment you're ever going to make is in yourself. And I don't just say that because I'm a coach and people invest in me to invest in their futures. I say it because I invested in myself, quite some time ago. And I know I wouldn't be where I am today without making that time and money investment, right? And it's crazy because it's not one of those things that you can just pay for and it's there. Like you pay for it and you work for it. So when you work on yourself and you do this, personal development thing, which in the beginning I was very shy to talk about. Like go to the bookstore and walk into the self-help section. I don't know, I felt weird, right? I didn't feel confident about that until I recognized what this actually did for me and what it can do for anybody. And, you see people struggling, mentally, they're in this mental prison and, you can just tell their self-worth is so not where it should be. And when we start to understand that our spiritual DNA is perfect and we have all these cool gifts that are inside of us that nobody else has, and we start bringing them to the surface. Maybe it's a music talent. Maybe you want to play an instrument, right? Maybe you like to speak, right? I found out that I like to speak. Maybe you like to write. Maybe you like to garden. Whatever that may be, I just found out that I like plants. I like plants. So I've been learning how to take care of plants. So I started discovering all these things, and it's just so cool to be able to do that because it just creates all these new connections and it creates this fulfillment as well because it's like, hey, like that's cool. I didn't know I could do that, right? We start feeling good about ourselves and attracting the life that you want is about feeling it. It's about feeling good, right? So the Secret Genie kind of teaches you that what you need to do is create the vision of what you want, become very crystal clear on it, and feel like you've achieved it, because that's going to help you program the subconscious mind to set up this thing called auto suggestion, which we won't get into much tonight. But if you want to learn more about it, drop a comment because it's so cool to use auto suggestion to create what you want in life. But that's what we're doing here in this Secret Genie is setting up these visions of what it is that you want, creating the feeling and understanding that you can achieve it, right? And having that belief system around it and understanding, and that creates some excitement, right? Because look what we've done. We've created a goal. We've decided on some habits that we're going to change, and we're going to go into action right away. We're going to change some paradigms. We've learned about, the mind and that we're in control of it, and our thinking causes feelings, and feeling sets up a frequency to set up law of attraction. to move us towards our goal. And then we talk about all these potentials. We're getting some pretty exciting times, right? And what we're doing is we're programming this cybernetic system inside of our subconscious mind, right? And it's your built-in success mechanism. And it must have a goal or a target, right? This goal or target must be conceived of as already in existence now, right? So that we're feeling into it either in an actual or a potential form, and it operates by either steering you to a goal already in existence or discovering something already in existence, right? So the automatic mechanism is teleological, and that is it operates or must be oriented to end results, which is goals. So do not be discouraged because the means whereby may not be apparent. It is the function of the automatic mechanism to supply the means whereby when you supply the goal, right? So think in terms of the end results, and the means whereby will often take care of themselves. So why am I saying that? Like why am I telling you this right now? Well, I'm telling you this because if you think from the end result of already achieving the goal and the feeling, your subconscious mind is going to start to fill in the blanks to get you to that spot, okay? And don't be afraid of making mistakes or temporary failures, right? Because all servo mechanisms achieve a goal by negative feedback, by going forward, by making mistakes, and by immediately correcting the course. So it's like we got this thing that we really want to do, and we're like, how does it happen, right? How do I do it, Mclean? How do I go from where I am to where I want to go? How does this make sense when I don't know how to do it and I've never done it? Well, it's in believing, and it's about taking action, and it's about stepping out, and it's about making mistakes and having the servo mechanism recorrect itself with some negative feedback, right? And it learns better by the things that you did wrong than the things that you did right. And you'll find your way, right? You'll just find it. I'm looking at the time and I'm slowing down. So a skill learning of any kind is accomplished by trial and error. Mentally correcting aim after an error until a successful motion, movement, or performance has been achieved. I think of my Roomba when I hear this, right? Roomba has a little program in her, and she hits my coach, and she turns around, and she turns, and she keeps hitting it, and she'll turn until she doesn't hit it anymore, right? And then she'll know that she doesn't do that anymore. And the next time she doesn't hit the coach as much, and she just kind of drives by it, and she does her job, right? And she learns as she goes. And I don't know why my Roomba is a girl, but it is. Okay, so you must learn to trust your creative mechanism to do its work and not jam it by becoming too concerned or too anxious as to whether it will work or not. We're attempting to force it by too much conscious effort. Isn't that cool? Okay, we don't have to force it. We don't have to force it. We don't have to jam it. We don't have to be concerned if it's going to work or not. We just have to be in control of our thinking, which is the next thing we're going to talk about, and stay in control no matter what's happening outside, right? So you must let it work rather than make it work. This trust is necessary because your creative mechanism operates below the level of consciousness, and you cannot know what is going on beneath the surface. Moreover, it's natural to operate spontaneously according to present need. Therefore, you must not wait to act until you have proof. You must act as if it is there and it will come through. Do the thing and you will have the power, said Emerson. Okay, so just do the thing, right? You know what you want. Go out, take action, make it happen. Right? Do the thing. The means by which your success mechanism works often takes care of themselves and do so effortlessly when you supply the goal to your brain. So the means, okay, will supply itself when you give the goal to the brain, right? So The precise action steps will come to you without stress, tension, or worry about how you're going to accomplish the result you seek. Many people make the mistake of interfering with their success mechanism by demanding a how before the goal is clearly established. After you've formed a mental image of the goal you seek to create, the how will come to you and not before. Okay, so remain calm and relaxed, and the answers will arrive. Any attempt to force the ideas to come will not work. As Brian Tracy wrote, in all mental workings, effort defeats itself. So that should be pretty like kind of comforting, like kind of kick back, relax. It's gonna happen, right? It's gonna happen. All right, I am like halfway through the information that I want to share with you guys tonight, so I'm gonna pick it up a notch. I might have to skip a little bit. I want to get through it all because this is just so important, right? So the trick to staying in charge. So now we've got this goal, we've got this passion, we're moving towards it. We've got to be able to stay in charge, right? We've been gifted with higher mental faculties, which are perception, will, imagination, memory, reason, and intuition. And it's our responsibility to learn how to utilize and develop these higher faculties to a greater degree. Okay. So when you look at the results and let the results register in your mind, the results cause you to think. The thinking produces the feeling. The feeling causes the action, and the action produces the result, the same result. Okay. This is precisely why the majority of our population keep getting the same results year after year, and we call it a struggle, right? Like, man, it's a struggle. Yeah, I'm just struggling. We call it a struggle, and we believe it's a struggle, and we do it over and over and over again. We just want to struggle. I don't know why, but simply changing that. So understand that when we let our current results register on the screen of our mind, we're allowing our results to dictate the way that we're thinking and feeling, and we're attracting more of that. Okay. We don't want more of the same. Well, maybe we do. Maybe it's awesome. Maybe you are right where you want to be. But I know I would say 99% of the people I talk to, they want more. And that's normal. That's desire. That's natural. Okay. So remember, it starts with the thought. The thought causes the feeling, and the feeling causes the action. The action causes the result. Take a look at the result. Adapt and start a new train of thought. Stay in charge of you. Don't let the outside world control you. You control the outside world. It can be tough not to focus on results. I know, because I've been there and I've heard this, and I've like wanted to like get mad and be like, well, you don't know what it's like to work 70 hours a week and, to just pay bills and not have the time to do anything else. That would have been my maybe previous thinking, or thinking that I hear. What we have to recognize is we have 100% control of what we think about. Now, you might get mad at me. You might not believe it. You might be like, well, if something bad happens to me, I think, bad things, and I can't control that. But you can. You can. Maybe you just don't want to. That's fine. But as we take control of the way we're thinking, and it's not like detaching from reality, it's observing the results, deciding if the results are what we really want, or if we want to change them. And if we want to change them, we have to understand that we have to change our train of thought now, today, for it to show up later on in life. All the results I have today are due to the thinking I've had in the last 6 months. Does that make sense to you guys? Because it doesn't happen just like that. That would be crazy if it did. It would be bad. It's happened because of the way I've been thinking for the last 6 months today, right? So the things that you start thinking about today are going to show up in your life a little bit later on. And you have to understand that, right? You can't rush it. You can't force it. And then we have to understand that our environment is our looking glass. Okay, the environment we're in is our looking glass. And we have programmed in the deep recesses of our mind a perception of what we are, who we are, and what we're worth. Okay? This is a program. It's in the subconscious mind. And it's a perception of you. And it's who you think you are and your worth. And it's your self-limiting beliefs. Okay. And this is referred to as an inner self-image. And it is literally a control mechanism that determines what comes into your life and how well you do it. You know, in the beginning, I talked about relationships and the one with yourself and why it's so important. Because we need to grow the self-image. We need to grow into the person we want to become to achieve the things that we want to achieve. And we have to believe that we can do that, right? We also have an outer image. It is the one that we project to the world by the way we walk, talk, dress, meet, and greet other people. And that image is the outer expression of the inner image, right? And think about that. Maybe you're a very shy person, right? Well, it's because of the image you hold inside. Like, what are you shy about? Maybe, you know, you're uncomfortable meeting new people. Maybe you don't trust people. Maybe, you know, you're just not used to these situations. It just kind of makes you anxious. But recognize that's in your self-image, because then there's people that are very gregarious and outgoing, out there shaking hands and trying to grab your baby from you, and, you know, all these things. And like, they're just out there, and they have a different self-image of themselves. They're very outgoing, right? They're all of that. So maybe there's something in your personality you want to change. Maybe, you know, throughout your life, you've always struggled speaking in public. Maybe that's something you want to change. They say that's like the number one fear. Me, I'm like, hey man, give me a mic. I'll talk to anybody. Like, I'll talk to you on the side of the road. I'll talk to you in the webinar format. I'll just do it. You want to talk? Let's talk. You know, like, please give me something to talk on. But I wasn't always like that. I was very shy, actually. I didn't even like reading my paper in front of my classmates. In fact, I would probably skip school in high school if I had anything to do that was like oral, written. I just wouldn't do it. I was shy, right? I was the first one to run away from a video camera when I was younger. But I always wanted to, but I was shy. Why? Because I had this self-image of myself. I didn't feel I was good enough. And then I changed the self-image. And then I started stepping into the person that I wanted to be. And that felt really good. Okay. So your results are always a direct reflection of what's going on internally. And if you have a negative or bad image of yourself, your results are going to be a reflection of that image. Some people hate hearing this. They get mad at me. Yeah, like, I can see what your image is by the results that you're getting. Sometimes it's hard to look at ourselves and go, yeah, I'm the problem. I am the problem, and I need to fix this, right? I've got so much on self-image here. Self-image sets the boundaries of the individual accomplishments. It defines what you can and cannot do. Expand the self-image and you expand the area of the possible. The development of an adequate, realistic self-image will seem to imbue the individual with new capabilities, new talents, and literally turn failures into success. Self-image is so important. Make sure that you're being nice to yourself, right? If you're going to start anywhere, just start by being nice to yourself. Like, say nice things to yourself. Love yourself in the morning. Do it. right? If you find yourself saying things that you wouldn't say to your best friend because you know it would make them feel bad, but you're saying them to yourself, stop it, change it, and be nice to yourself. Okay? A human being always acts and feels and performs in accordance with what he imagines to be true about himself and his environment. This is a basic and fundamental law of the mind. It's the way we're built. Okay? So within you, whoever you may be, regardless of how big of a failure you may think yourself to be, is the ability and the power to do whatever you need to be happy and successful. You understand that, okay? Now stop measuring yourself against their standards. You are not them. You can never measure up. Neither can they measure up to yours, nor should they. Once you see this simple, rather self-evident truth, accept it and believe it, your inferior feelings will vanish. Self-image is powerful. It's so powerful, and it will help you achieve what you want to achieve. Terror barrier. Whew, this is the 7th tool I want to teach you guys. This is number 7. I still got more to go. I hope we can get to it. I've got 9 minutes. 9 minutes. Sorry, guys. So anytime that you set a goal, everybody's laughing at me. The people that know me know why, right? Anytime you set a goal that results in you skipping a couple of rungs of success on the ladder, you're going to run up against a terror barrier. Man, I've hit this thing so many times. You know what, guys? We're going to talk about terror barrier, and that's all we're going to have time to talk about because I really want to talk about terror barrier. So if you guys want the other 5 things, we're going to need to schedule another time to do this, and I'm more than happy to do that. Terror barrier, man, it sucks. It sucks. It's like literally sticking your finger in a light socket. And it's like when you step out to do the thing that you want to do, like this event tonight, you know, I've got to go through the terror barrier every time I jump on here with you guys because I don't know who's showing up. And I want to make sure that I'm giving you the best that I possibly can. And you can leave here tonight with something that you can take with you, that you can apply into your life and make things happen. I bounced off this terror barrier so many times. And I knew it. And I let it happen. And it's frustrating. But once you learn how to get through it, you will overcome fear and procrastination. Okay. And you come up against terror barrier whenever you make a serious change in lifestyle, you're moving out of your comfort zone, you run up against it, right? And with any change, the terror barrier will instantly automatically be standing between you and the good that you desire. It's like the cave you fear to enter holds the treasure you seek, right? And fear knocked on the door. What was it? Action answered, and fear was no more. And it's the only way to remove fear. It's the only way is to take action and move into action on what it is that you want. But it's crazy because all of a sudden you take action on what it is you want. Let's say you're a month or 2 in, and it's like, it's just so overwhelming, right? Because you're doing all these things that you've never done before. And your subconscious mind, your paradigms are fighting you, and they're telling you, they're like, Mclean, why are you doing this? You don't need to do this. You don't need to do this. You can do this later. And it like self-sabotages you and talks you out of doing things, right? It's like, wow, you don't need to do this today, do it tomorrow, right? Tomorrow rolls around and something shows up and gets in your way and you don't do it. And then, you're back to it again. Terror barrier is why most people don't, step out and do the thing that they really wanted to do. They're just so scared of, what's going to happen. And they think, what if it doesn't work? And I change my perception on that. And I say, what if it works? What if it was easy? What if it gave you everything that you wanted? Would it be worth it? And sometimes we need to hear that, right? To step into do the thing that we really want to do. Terror barrier. Not a fun place to be, but if you're not there, you're not growing, right? So when you come up against it, you have a choice. You can step back into safety and continue to experience the same results year after year, or you can be courageous and experience the growth that you've been seeking. So it's really cool kind of working with a coach for me. Like when I worked with my mentors, they were, continuously helping me through the terror barrier by helping me understand and recognize that the doubts and the fears that I were having, they weren't true. There's nothing true about them. And I just need to have some faith and just keep doing what I was doing. And, having that person there to help me really, really made a difference. And I think that's why I do what I do today, is because I love helping people. I love seeing them achieve the things that they want, stepping over their terror barriers. Hey, Jordan Miller, right? Put them on the spot, get them to stretch and grow and do the things so they can have the things that they've always wanted to have, and do the things that they knew they already needed to do. Just needed a little bit of help doing them. My gosh, you guys, an hour goes by so quick. It's a lot to talk about. I've got 5 more tools to talk about, and I just can't get there in 4 minutes. I'm not even going to try. Cassie's like, no. Maybe I should have booked 2 hours. We could have done it. Jordan was like, no, you're right. It's enough. Tired of hearing myself talk. Over to you guys. Facebook family, I hope you're still with us. Thank you for watching. Thank you. We'll catch up in the comments over on Facebook here shortly. So good to see some new faces. I hope everybody has an absolutely wonderful evening. Go out there and make it happen. Hope we got something out of it tonight. I know I did. I always do. Just love talking to you guys. Okay, we're going to end this. Bye.